Welcome to today's session, where we're going to be looking at how our add-ins for D365 Finance can connect to the expense management system Expensify. Today we're going to be using our add-in Expense Connect combined with our new API management module, Direct Connect, and those two together will create a fully automated experience and integration with Expensify. So if you go into Expensify, then if I have a look at my reports, then in here we can see that I have X amount of reports that are ready to be consumed, and I'll now go into D365 and activate the connection, and we should be able to see that our reports are being consumed in D365. So switching into D365, I'm now going to go to the list of modules, and under System Administration and Setup, in here we now have an area called Direct Connect, which is our new API management area, where we are publishing a catalog of various APIs that can be used with our Connect products. And should there be a connection that our clients want that's not currently in the catalog, then we would of course add that. So now we're going to be looking at the Expensify connection. Before we process the actual data, I'm just going to show how we actually manage the connection and the mapping of the data. For each API connection that's available in the catalog, we have this field mapping area where we can actually go in and we can map the individual API elements from Expensify and then map them into areas within Dynamics. And this actually provides full flexibility for our clients, as it means that if you in the future start using different fields in Expensify, then you would always be able to include that application field and then just map it to the appropriate field within Dynamics. So this is the core of the API management module. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kick off the data transfer job. I'm just going to do that by selecting periodic job. And this can obviously be set up as a batch job, meaning that the import will be running periodically at a frequency that you obviously choose. Again, a fully automated experience, bringing the data back into Dynamics. So I'm going to put it into batch processing, select OK, and the system will now import the data. So now that the periodic job has been running, you can go to the transfer log to see if it's been successful. And in here, I get a full view of all of the various jobs that's been sent to Expensify. I can see the statuses against it. We can actually see what the system is sending to Expensify, and also the raw format of the response that we are getting from Expensify. So this all looks good now. We can see that it's processed. So this would now be in our Expense Connect module, which will then do the heavy lifting of mapping it to employees, the correct projects, identifying what's billable and reimbursable for the employees. So in the Project Management and Accounting module, I'm going to go to Inquiries and Reports, and in here we have our Expense Connect area where I can go and look at the imported expenses. So we can see here that all of our data is correctly imported with all of our data from Expensify. So this is now ready to be inserted into a project expense journal. So the next step would be to process them, and we do that on the periodic, and then we go to the Expense Connect area, and in here we just need to process the expense transactions. And once again, this can be set up as a batch job, so this part is also fully automated, and I'm gonna say OK to running this batch job. So now that our periodic job has completed, we're just gonna go and have a quick look in our imported expense transaction table just to make sure that it is updated. So we can now see that it's been processed, which means that if we continue over and have a look at our expense journals, then in here we can see that the Expense Connect now has created an expense journal, and against that journal you can actually see the earliest and the latest transactions that's within that journal. And if we open it up, then we can see all of our transactions from Expensify. They are now transferred fully with the correct project date. It's been mapped to the correct projects and categories. It's been assigned to the correct employee. We're even getting the description in. You can see that the system is also calculating the sales price in case it's a billable line, which is also being applied by the Expense Connect add-in. And for the transactions that's been marked as reimbursable in Expensify, the offset account has been switched to a vendor, so that the posting offsets against the employee vendor. And last but not least, we're just going to go back to Expensify just to verify that our report has now been marked as exported. So this was the unexported report that was transferred via the Expensify integration. So if I refresh my screen, then we can see that it's now been marked as exported, which also means that it will get excluded from future data transfers to D365. And that was just a short demo of how the API integration between D365 Finance and Expensify looks like using our Connect products.